My name is Anna. I am a student at the University of Winchester, studying for a Masters in Animal Welfare Science, Ethics and Law. This is a presentation examining the ways in which the UK fails its pet rabbit population. The aim here is to examine the main ways rabbit welfare is lacking, how these issues affect welfare, why these failures are occurring, and ways in which we can work to improve rabbit welfare. This is an important topic because in the UK, rabbits are the third most popular pet behind dogs and cats, but their status amongst society is vastly different. According to the RSPCA, rabbits are the UK's most neglected pet, and their welfare needs and capabilities are largely misunderstood or overlooked. This is a situation that needs to change. We'll begin with a brief look at what welfare means, and it is generally looked at in three different interlinking ways. Biological functioning focuses primarily on health, growth and productivity. In the context of companion animals, health will be the most relevant component. Affective states emphasize the importance of an animal being free from pain, suffering and negative feelings and emotions, as well as promoting positive ones. And natural living places importance on an animal being able to perform a full range of its behaviours and live according to its nature. Moving on to pet rabbit welfare. The 2020 PDSA Poll report found that 2% of the UK population owns a rabbit, which equates to around 1 million rabbits. Of these, 42% lived alone, 26% were kept in inadequate housing, and 18% were fed a muesli-based diet. To better understand why these are issues and how they impact rabbit welfare, we will examine each individually. Living alone. Rabbits are intelligent and highly social animals and should always be kept with another compatible rabbit where possible. The biology and behaviour of pet rabbits is very similar to that of their wild cousins, who dig out interconnecting tunnels underground called warrens, housing 50 or more rabbits. These warrens are divided into smaller family units with complex social structures and territories. Rabbits living alone have been reported to have a reduced lifespan, as well as increased fearfulness and other abnormal behaviours such as bar biting and floor chewing. This is hardly a surprise when you consider how social rabbits are in the wild. Indeed, studies by Shellfisher and Mullen and Main found that rabbits would spend 70 to 90% of their resting time with a companion when housed together, demonstrating how important a companion is. In the UK, there are 420,000 rabbits living alone, and the evidence available strongly suggests that their welfare is severely impaired. If living alone is linked to a shorter lifespan, their biological functioning is being threatened. A highly social animal will suffer when kept alone, as evidenced by abnormal behaviour, and a life in isolation is very far removed from how a rabbit would live naturally. Already this first failure, the failure to provide a suitable companion, represents a serious impairment to pet rabbit welfare. Inadequate housing. There are plenty of guidelines for rabbit housing available online, a few of which are highlighted here. The Blue Cross recommends a minimum size hutch of 183 cm in length by 60 cm in width and 60 cm in height, and should be big enough to allow the rabbit to stretch out lengthways and hop around. There should be at least 2 rooms in a hutch, a main area with a wire front, spacious enough for rabbits to move around, and another room functioning as a sleeping area with solid walls and a door where rabbits can retreat, relax or hide as needed. Appropriate substrates and bedding materials should be provided in the hutch to keep the rabbits warm and comfortable. The RSPCA recommends that all rabbit housing consists of a living enclosure rather than just a hutch, as this fails to meet the rabbit's needs. The living enclosure should include a traditional exercise run outside or an indoor pen. The rabbit should have access to the living enclosure at all times and should not be confined to the hutch unless absolutely necessary. The area should allow for normal locomotor behaviours such as hopping, running, jumping and foraging. So now we move on to the reality. This is a hutch found on Amazon. It's under £50 and available to be delivered the next day. The dimensions are far smaller than the recommended length of 183 cm, depth of 60 cm and height of 60 cm. A normal sized rabbit would not be able to hop, stretch out or stand on its hind legs in this hutch. Additionally, its design does not easily allow for unrestricted access to the outside, meaning a rabbit would likely be confined to these small quarters for prolonged periods of time. Small hutches are readily available online and in pet stores, which represents a real threat to welfare. There are 260,000 rabbits in the UK being housed in small hutches with minimal or no run space. Other research has shown that access to exercise areas is frequently unpredictable, minimal, or ill-timed. Additionally, around 5% of rabbits are not being provided with any nesting material or substrate. It is worth mentioning that these numbers may be underestimated, as it is likely that many owners who keep their rabbits in poor conditions would have declined to answer a survey and are therefore not represented. Both the Blue Cross and the RSPCA state that inadequate housing is linked to skeletal aches and pains, as well as weight gain and health and behavioural problems, including an increased risk of fly strike, spinal deformities and overgrown nails. Inactivity can lead to obesity, which in turn makes it harder for a rabbit to adequately groom itself, increasing the risk of fly strike. Rabbits that are not exposed to sunlight are often deficient in vitamin D, which can make any calcium deficiencies from inappropriate food worse, as vitamin D boosts intestinal absorption of calcium. This can affect the mineralization of teeth and bone, causing pain and dental disease. Here we can see that biological functioning is being impaired as the rabbit's health is at risk. Behaviour is severely restricted in small hutches, and rabbits exhibit rebound behaviour when moved from a small enclosure to a larger one, meaning there is significantly more activity such as rearing and hopping when moved to a larger space, suggesting this type of behaviour is highly motivated and important to the rabbit. This strongly suggests that rabbits in unsuitable housing will be experiencing negative affective states, and it's clear that these conditions are extremely unnatural and important behaviour is being inhibited. Inadequate housing is a failure that compromises all three aspects of welfare. Muesli-based diet. Rabbits have continuously growing teeth, so a lot of chewing and gnawing is needed to keep them at a suitable length. Rabbits in the wild would consume a lot of grasses, tree shoots, and other plant-based materials, and research has shown that the ideal diet for a rabbit consists of a large portion of hay, fresh green vegetables twice a day, and about a tablespoon of commercial rabbit pellets. This makes the figure of 180,000 rabbits living on muesli-based diets very concerning. These diets have been linked to obesity, dental problems, and gastrointestinal diseases. Rabbits fed like this are less active and spend less time foraging for food, which is believed to be the main cause of obesity, as well as the higher calorie intake associated with muesli mixes. Obesity can cause many health problems such as soiling and arthritis, which are risk factors for the development of fly strike, as well as a life-threatening condition called hepatic lipidosis if they stop eating for any reason. Dental problems are believed to be linked to a muesli-based diet through a lack of wear and through a calcium and/or vitamin D deficiency, as mentioned previously. Rabbit teeth are designed for a fibrous diet and are kept in shape by the process of growth, attrition, and abrasion, making fibrous materials vital to prevent teeth from overgrowing. Overgrown teeth can push into the jaw of the rabbit, causing extreme pain and anorexia. Muesli-based diets can also lead to calcium deficiencies through the rabbit selecting favourite parts of the mix and leaving the calcium-high pellets uneaten. This can lead to an underlying metabolic bone disease, which has been hypothesized to be a causal factor in dental disease. In rabbits, ingestion of large amounts of fibre is the main driving force for normal intestinal mobility. Muesli-based diets without adequate high-quality hay is a major cause of gastrointestinal stasis, including gastrointestinal impaction and gastric and/or intestinal bloat. It also predisposes a rabbit to gastrointestinal dysfunction through the rabbit self-selecting the grains, which has been demonstrated to lead to lower fecal output, also associated with digestive issues. Again, it is clear that this failure to provide a suitable diet negatively affects all three aspects of welfare: biological functioning in terms of health conditions and deficiencies, affective states where this inadequate nutrition leads to painful conditions where suffering is unavoidable, and natural living if this concentrated diet does not allow for natural foraging and chewing behaviours. So why is this happening? The Poor report highlighted that of the rabbit owners who are feeding their rabbits muesli-based diets, 42% chose this as they believed it was the healthiest option for their pets. This represents a real and damaging lack of knowledge. Indeed, in the same report, 56% of vets believed that lack of owner knowledge represented the most important welfare issue facing rabbits. It's likely that these serious welfare issues could be improved significantly if owners were better educated on their rabbits' needs. Research by Edgar and Mullen in 2011 showed knowledge of the diet and social needs of rabbits was low at the point of purchase, with only 40% of participants planning to include hay or grass in their rabbits' diets, 41% indicating they would keep the rabbit on its own, 60% providing a hutch smaller than the PDSA recommendations, and only 16% planning to allow the rabbit permanent access to a run. This leads to the responsibility of pet shops across the country, as the same study indicated that 69% of those surveyed had conducted prior research by speaking to a pet shop employee, which makes it alarming that their knowledge of rabbit needs was so low. Surely pet shops should try to ensure customers have the required knowledge to look after an animal, with further training for staff or even simply a leaflet to hand out. This study was only conducted on those purchasing a rabbit from a pet shop, so does not represent owners who adopted from a rescue centre or purchased directly from a breeder or friend, so further research is needed to examine exactly how much all owners know about the needs of their rabbits. Recommendations: banning the sale of hutches below recommended size guidelines and banning muesli-based feed would be an effective way of making sure these two types of poor welfare are phased out. While it wouldn't help currently owned rabbits living in suboptimal conditions, it would ensure that future rabbits do not suffer in the same way. Pet shops could take the decision not to stock these products, but it wouldn't address the availability of them online, and where smaller hutches are cheaper, it could lead to more problems, as pet shop employees can at least advise customers to purchase a larger hutch. A comprehensive ban would be required to stop the manufacturing and sale of these products. The RSPCA only rehomes rabbits as pairs or into pairs, as they recognise how vital this is for the rabbit's welfare. Pet shops and breeders taking similar steps would have a huge impact. However, without government regulation, this may allow for unreputable breeders to flourish if they are the only place a rabbit can be purchased singularly. A law in Switzerland states that guinea pigs may not be kept alone in recognition of their social needs. An addition to the Animal Welfare Act, including this for rabbits, would go a long way to decreasing loneliness and poor welfare amongst the UK rabbit population. Finally, and arguably most importantly, is raising public awareness and increasing owner knowledge. Owners taking responsibility for ensuring the good welfare of their pet could change thousands of rabbit lives for the better virtually overnight. The evidence previously mentioned strongly suggests that the poor welfare experienced by so many UK rabbits is taking place largely due to ignorance. There is excellent information on caring for rabbits online, easily found and free to access, so it is concerning that more rabbit owners either don't use or don't heed this information. Research has also shown that where rabbit owners had higher perceptions of intelligence, pain and emotions, welfare was better, suggesting that improving owner perceptions of the species' attributes and abilities may lead to them being housed and fed better, as well as being provided with a companion. Targeted and tailored public education programs, increasing awareness of rabbits' experiences of pain, emotionality and intelligence may have a real impact on improving welfare. In summary, living alone, inadequate housing and muesli-based diets each represent a serious problem for UK rabbits. These failures threaten every aspect of welfare, and the situation needs to improve. Owners, pet shops and breeders need to do more to encourage education, prevent the suffering of pet rabbits and improve rabbit welfare across the UK. That said, government-level intervention is needed to prohibit products that inevitably lead to poor welfare, and consider amending the Animal Welfare Act to include more protections for rabbits. Education programs would do a lot to reduce the ignorance of rabbit owners and encourage them to better care for their rabbit. This is urgently needed. Finally, we come to ways in which you can help. The easiest thing to do is make sure you are educated. If you have a rabbit or you are thinking of purchasing a rabbit, make sure you know of all their welfare needs and plan how to accommodate them. If demand for small hutches and inappropriate feed decreases, manufacturers and suppliers will be motivated to change. Educate those around you. Talk to rabbit owners about how to adequately care for their rabbit and ensure good welfare. And make some noise. Write, email, tweet your local MP, your local pet shop and national pet shop, and put pressure on those in authority to do better. And finally, donate to animal charities and sign petitions. The Rabbit Welfare Association and Fund is an excellent place to start. They are dedicated solely to improving the lives of rabbits and are currently running a petition to ban the sale of hutches below minimum size recommendations. This petition is linked in the next slide and below. The more we do to ensure our nation's pets have good welfare, the closer we get to truly being the nation of animal lovers that 92% of respondents in the poll report believe us to be.